As he jogged outside, I rushed quickly after him. His eyes were tightly shut, beads of sweat pooling on top of his forehead, when he suddenly stopped. Nagakura, are you okay? All of a sudden, his breathing became shallow, and soon his eyes and hair began changing color. It was bloodlust. I shuddered as Nagakura furiously clawed at his own chest, barely able to breathe in by this point. You are not fine, you goddamn idiot. So now all the ducks are frustrated. Yeah, the ducks might be a blessing, but only the ducks. The timing couldn't have been worse. What was I to do? We know the drill. Give him blood. There was no time to hesitate. Nagakura needed me, especially with how much he strained his body protecting the Saikyo corpse. Nagakura, please drink my blood. I hastily exposed my collar from under my kimono, then unsheathed my kodachi and slid it along my neck. Again, for the third time. Without another word, I turned my back to Nagakura. Keeping ourselves face to face surely would have been too much for him to handle in this delicate time. He didn't miss a beat. His nose perked upwards as the scent of my blood tickled his nostrils, and he proceeded to wrap his mouth around my fresh cut. Before sipping, however, he gulped a mouthful of saliva. Now's no time to worry about that. Just drink me, please. That is such a weird fucking line. As if beckoned by my request, Nagakura darted his tongue, tracing little circles around my sore wound. His moist lips made my neck shiver, along with a thin pinch of pressure as he sucked in deep gulps. Deep gulps, damn it. It is quite alright. Just keep drinking. With each fervent drink of blood came a profuse string of apologies. But I'd enjoyed it all the same. Jesus Christ, Chizuru. Oh! It's not September. After his bout of bloodlust seemed to subside, the recklessness that had been becoming emblematic? That's a new word. Of Nagakura's leadership in battle was dissipating. All of the tensions built from his urge to fling himself into the throes of death and gunfire simply disappeared, replaced by an apathetic malaise? Not all of it could be blamed on the toll his condition had been taking on his body, however. Although he was fulfilling an ambition to serve the shogunate under the Saikyo Corps banner, losing one battle after another was devastating. Not even the Aizu could withhold imperial advances. Neither geographical locations nor number of soldiers were an obstacle to the Imperials, and Nagakura had just about seen enough. On this particular day, I watched him seethe with contempt as another defeat came to fruition.
Nagakura 副隊長、正教隊に撤退命令です。ボナリ峠から撤退して米沢藩に向かえとのことです。
Yonezawa Domain, a domain ruled by the Uesigi clan in the northeastern region of Japan. Despite not being affiliated with the Tokugawa, they joined the Northern Alliance to oppose the Imperial Army.
この俺に合図を見捨てて撤退しろっていうのか。
ですが、これは命令ですので。
The soldier's insistence was met with a sigh from Nagakura, who was working to hide his depression.
わかった。命令だからな。行くとするが。
Nagakura. If Bonari Pass had indeed fallen prey to Imperial occupation, then a siege attack on Aizu Castle in the near future was merely a formality. Seikyo courts forwent becoming shogunate collateral, and instead fled to the Yonezawa domain. Nagakura sulked wordlessly during our lonesome departure from the charred battlegrounds. His eyes were vacant, affected more by his deflated ego than serious contemplation. Any of his remaining goodwill was left behind in Aizu. I tried numerous times to initiate conversation with him to bolster his spirits, but every response was muttered, his words floating away from me like he was in trance. On the main trail towards Yonezawa, we witnessed troops similarly nursing their sore wounds inflicted by defeat at the hands of the Imperial Army. We camped in a nearby forest, tending to our ailing allies in the refuge of darkness. From a little distance away from me, I overheard two soldiers speaking in a hushed tone.
知ってるか？戦場の後に幽霊が出るらしいぜ。
ああ、聞いたことがある。切っても撃っても倒れない幽霊だろ？
出会った部隊は全て皆殺しにされるという話だ。
Ghosts? In the battlefield? I bit my lip in disbelief. Do you think there's any truth in their stories?
負けて逃げてきたやつの言い訳だろうな。
I got ice cream.
Oh my god.
Yes, pecan.
Pecan?
Butter pecan.
Pecan!
Pecan.
負けたやつは自分より強いやつや不思議な出来事があると言ってるとメンツが立たないんだ。
Alright. His response was half-hearted, but something in the nature of their conversation still bothered me. Their description of ghosts was conspicuously unlike another creature, one that I had witnessed surviving gunfire and sword wounds with my own eyes. But, Nagakura, doesn't this sound a little familiar to you? Maybe like the Fury Corpse?
言われてみれば似てるかもしれねえ。こっちを襲うってことは新選組の羅刹じゃねえ。となると新政府軍の羅刹がここまで来たってことかもしれねえな。
The emptiness in Nagakura's earlier expression was now filled with a panic urgency. With the rumors of Furies running amok and murdering our men were true, then we had no room for complacency. Ugh. Any strategic misstep on our side could result in the costly loss of every soldier at our disposal. Only one man was capable of wreaking havoc with nefarious creatures like Furies. It must be the man responsible for this batch of Furies. Must be my father. Father, who had been experimenting on Furies with the Shinsengumi, was now collaborating with the Imperial Army. What tricks was he hiding up his sleeve? The very thought of Father being associated with such a horrendous act was nauseating, and I nearly fainted as my vision began to swirl. Nagakura picked up on my discomfort intuitively, resting his hand gently upon my left shoulder. He gazed at me intently, with a twinkle in his eye.
もし本当に羅刹ならほっとくわけにはいかねえ。行ってみるか。
Oh God, the forest was dense and silent, save for the save for the ducks. Save for the ducks. Save for the chirp of insects fluttering through the rustling branches. Beneath our feet were the fresh remnants of bullet castings and torn uniforms, giving us some indication of how the Aizu's retreat must have gone. The dazzling moonlight was contrasted by the sight of dismembered corpses, filling the air with a distinct stench that made me sick to my stomach. This is horrible.
千鶴ちゃんは見るなよ。これはただ殺されただけじゃない。殺した後に切り刻んだ後だ。間違いねえ。こんなことをするのは羅刹だけだ。
Must be. My skin crawled. So did the ducks. If Father was responsible for this depravity, I wasn't sure how I'd be able to live with myself. Just as the thought of him crossed my mind, a shadow snuck into the corner of my eye, and I flung my head to the side to search for it. A ray of moonlight shone through the tree, revealing... Father? Father? Indeed, it was him. The ducks are not happy. Indeed, it was him, his bald head glimmering underneath the moon's ominous glow.
おお、こんなところで出会うとは。娘は江戸にいないし、新選組が連れて行ったわけでもない。不思議に思っていたら、長倉君が連れていたとは誤算だったよ。
Father began to snarl menacingly, prompting Nagakura to stand between us in a protective manner.
やっぱりあんたの。いや、羅刹の仕業だったのかよ。これは戦じゃねえだろ。なんでこんなことをしやがった。
戦場で血に酔ってしまわないように、こうして定期的に血を与えているのだよ。血を飲むことに慣れてもらわんとね。しつけというやつだ。
Nagakura's eyebrows slanted upwards incredulously.
しつけだと。
犬や馬と同じだよ。言うことを聞かせるには何かと手間暇がかかるものだ。苦労はしたが、ちゃんと血を与えることで、今では私の言うことをよく聞くようになった。
Uh-oh. Fuck. The thick, impenetrable darkness was suddenly dotted with pairs of crimson eyes. Father's words were enough to summon what revealed to be an army of furies hidden behind rows of trees.
こいつらだって人間だったんだろうが、なんてことをしやがる。
君たちと同じだよ。戦で死にかけた者、病で死にかけた者、戦から逃亡しようとした者、それらを羅刹として利用しているだけだ。まあ、望んでなったものかどうかはわからんがね。
The coldness in Father's voice was enough to set Nagakura off, who exploded angrily in kind.
てめえ!
Father, you were a doctor. How could you do this?
これも医者の仕事だよ。放っておけば死んでしまう者を助けたのだ。 感謝されこそすれ。いや、感謝する意識もないだろうな。
Father, how could you? You're a...
父様か。いつまでも慕ってくれるのは構わないが、その呼ばれ方は耳障りだ。
Huh?
何しろ、私は本物の父ではないのだから。
He's not my real father? I couldn't believe what father was saying.
私が欲しかったのは、雪村本家の強い血を持つ鬼の娘。他の鬼の一族と婚姻を結ばせ、協力を得るためだ。お前には風間様との間に鬼の子をたくさん産んでもらわねば。その鬼の子を羅刹にしたら、立派な羅刹になると思わないかね。
What? You must be joking, right, father? As if in response to my question. All of the Furies began to encircle us, grinning with warped, crooked smiles as they closed us in.
その娘さえ生きていればいい。男は殺して食料にしろ。
Nagakura's face scrunched, and he glared in every direction out of panic.
なあ、お前ら新政府軍の奴らなんだろ。敵だけどよ、羅刹になっちまったけど、ちゃんと信念があって戦ってたんだよな。そうなんだろ。
Nagakura's desperate attempt to reason was ignored.
無駄だよ。彼らは人間じゃない。羅刹だ。
くそ、そうかよ。あんたがそんな風にしやがったのか。
Nagakura balled his hands into tight fists, which began to tremble violently near his hips.
悪いな、千鶴ちゃん。
Ducks.
もう我慢できそうにねえ。羅刹の力を使っても構わねえか。
I said... guide says... Nothing. Nagakura's poignant rage was understandable, and there was nothing for me to say. He rather appropriately interpreted my silence as an affirmation, and nodded kindly.
ありがとうよ。その代わり少しの間目をつぶっていてくれ。
In the blink of an eye, Nagakura's katana flashed as the steel slipped from out of the scabbard. He growled like a demon possessed. At the emotional center of his frenzy, he felt intense pity for the men who fell from his relentless attacks.
すまねえ。お前らすまねえ。
He tore through their flesh like parchment. Heads and arms were zealously chopped from their bodies, producing geysers of blood amidst echoing shrieks. Nagakura was proving too difficult an adversary, striking each vital point with accuracy that reduced the Furies into a revolting mess of blood and organs. Ew! In the span of a minute, over half of the Furies surrounding us were corpses, and Father was helpless as he watched on in bewilderment.
元々の素養が違うとこうまで差が出るものか。今度会うときはもっと多くの羅刹を用意してこよう。
Father chuckled to himself, spinning before fleeing into the forest and shrouding himself in darkness. Father, wait! As I sprinted in the hopes of catching him before he disappeared, a gang of Furies blocked my path.
行動！どこだ！
Nagakura barreled into the group of Furies, slashing at them while trying to pursue Father, but The Furies did their job, serving as little more than meat shields to buy Father enough time to escape. Nagakura, he's gone.
どこに行きやがった。出てきやれ。
Dog. I tried thrusting my body in front of him, but he instinctively shoved me out of his way. My words were useless as an arrow against a wall of stone, unable to penetrate his brutish mind. Was there any chance I had in stopping him?
I thought you say British, not British.
Eh?
I'm like, British mind?
No,
What?
not British mind, brutish!
British mind. I'm like, wait, British mind? What do you mean about that?
No!
God damn it. That's freaking funny, to be honest.
Someone tapped on my shoulder from behind. As I turned around in panic, I saw
また自我を失っているのですか。
Amagiri, one of Kazuma's demon cohorts, stepped in front of me as if to shield me from Nagakura. Nagakura, still stewing in frustration, pointed his katana at Amagiri.
どけよ。じゃなきゃお前が相手をするっていうのか。
意識はあるのか。私は敵として争うつもりはありません。
俺の邪魔するんじゃねえよ。どけ。
Nagakura shouted at Amagiri, swinging his sword at breakneck speed with the intent to kill. In spite of Nagakura's heightened ability, Amagiri swiftly ducked his head, avoiding the strike. Then, Amagiri jabbed his fist into Nagakura's ribcage, blasting Nagakura into the trunk of a nearby tree. The force of Amagiri's punch knocked the wind out of Nagakura, returning him back to his human form. Nagakura, are you alright? I ran to his body. After doing a quick inspection, I sighed in relief seeing that he was still conscious.